How valuable are you?
I'm Tim Greenwood, and this is Windows on the Word.
How valuable are you? I heard a story one time about this elderly woman that had this beautiful little bird in this golden cage, and every morning she'd go into the kitchen and take the cover off of that thing, and that little bird would start flitting around and just singing its head off all day long. And she was getting ready for a party that night, and so she was cleaning the house, she was vacuuming, and she looked over in the cage and there was some dried bird droppings in there, and so she opened the little door and put the vacuum cleaner wand in there. So she was cleaning that out and the telephone rang. Well, she turned around and picked up the telephone, and all of a sudden that vacuum cleaner wand went dunk, and she looked up and the bird was gone. Well, she dropped that vacuum cleaner and dropped the phone, ran over, pulled the plug out of the wall, tore that vacuum cleaner apart, got the bag, ripped that apart, and there was a little bird all wrapped up in all kinds of dust and hair and everything. So as she's running to the car, she's like pulling the little bird out of there, trying to be careful, but getting it out and everything. And finally she got down the street to the vet, and then the vet took tweezers and pulled all the lint and everything out of its little throat and gave it some oxygen, and then his eyes came open and one of his legs started moving and he started flapping his wings, and the little lady was so excited that her bird was alive and she hadn't killed it, and so she took it home and put it back on its little perch. But a change had come over that bird. That bird used to flit around and sing continually, but now all it did from that moment on was just sit there and stare. And you know, as I listened to that story, I got to thinking that's what the devil's done to a lot of people. They thought they were doing great in life, flitting around, singing their songs, but then the devil drug out his vacuum cleaner and sucked them in. And in the process, they got bumped around, battered, and beaten up, as if everything in the world had happened to them, totally traumatized. Sure, they got cleaned up, they got dusted off, they came to church, they got their mouths cleaned out, and they're alive, but now they just sit there and stare. They don't value themselves anymore. King David has gone through stuff. He said, I waited patiently on the Lord, and when I finally cried out for the Lord, He heard my cry, and He pulled me out of the quicksand, set my feet on solid ground, and He put a new song in my mouth. Glory to God. Yeah, the devil may have used his vacuum cleaner on you, but God can put a new song in your mouth. How valuable are you? Sometimes people get stuck in life, paralyzed because of all the bad things that have happened to them. Well, I'm here to tell you, Brother Tim's here to tell you today that no matter what you've been through, there's hope for you yet. How do I know? I know because I've been through stuff. As a child, the devil repeatedly tried to kill me. I've been hit by a car. I've been impaled on a picket fence, swarmed by wasps, mauled by a dog, nearly drowned in a lake and again in the ocean. I was sexually abused. I survived an attempted suicide. I've been in automobile accidents. I flipped one car end over end at 100 miles an hour. I stuffed another one under a big rig, and the big rig ran over my car. I've experienced 2 successive bouts of heart disease, and the last one, the doctor told me that they couldn't do any more for me and sent me home to die. And then when the devil pulled me into the vortex of fear and depression, down as far as an individual can go and still survive, until I was ready to give up and didn't care anymore. And I got to the point where all I could do was just sit there like a cold, hard block of ice there in my chair. But Jesus looked at me, and He didn't see a block of ice. He didn't even see an eagle in there. What He saw was the minister and the teacher that He called me to be. He saved me, healed me, and He called me, and hope and faith flooded back into my life. And suddenly I knew how valuable I was to God. Oh, if you could just grasp how valuable you are to Him too. You see, He knows how to release that eagle. He knows how to release that son and daughter of God. And He knows that when He's done, He's going to see somebody set right and set free.